All right, guys, Dan Gnadt, the PS2 guy here again. Today I'm doing something a little bit different now that we are done with the full interview, Michelle and I doing our reaction. I thought I'd try something that I'd been hearing about and run those 3 videos through Google. What is this called? Google LM Notebook. And try their little thing that does kind of like a podcast from those sources. I just wanted to give it a shot and see how well it did at summarizing the videos. It did fairly well, but there are some mistakes. And so I just want you to watch this and then see if you can spot the mistakes that it made from the 3 videos. It does a pretty good job at summarizing the 3 videos. But like I said, it did make some mistakes, and I'd like to see if you all can spot the mistakes. If you spot the mistakes, please leave them in the comments. Anyhow, enjoy this, have a good time with it, and stay retro. Dan Gnadt, the PS2 guy.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're embarking on a journey that connects the sheer excitement of an early 2000s console launch with the weird world of internet fame decades later.
That's right. We're looking at the PlayStation 2 launch, October 2000.
And specifically through the eyes of this couple whose experience just, poof, went global 25 years down the line.
So our mission here is to unpack not just the tech hype, which was massive, but also the human story. You know, what happens when a spontaneous media moment gets captured and then resurfaces.
Exactly. And how it resonates today.
Yeah, we've got some great sources, personal reflections, new interviews, and this really fascinating 25-year look back from Dan Gnadt. People now call him the PS2 guy, and his wife, Michelle.
So we're digging into the excitement, the reality behind that sudden TV spot, and how these everyday moments become history.
Get ready for some surprising details and a good look at how history gets made, and then found again, sometimes when you least expect it.
Okay, let's set the scene. October 2000. Picture it. Console launches back then, especially PlayStation, they were huge events.
Oh, totally. We're talking midnight lines, people waiting like it's, the biggest concert of the year, not just buying a gadget.
Real buzz for the PS2. But it wasn't all smooth sailing, was it? The sources mentioned it was a bit chaotic.
Yeah, the numbering system they used at the store, apparently it wasn't handled terribly well.
Right, so people who'd waited longer were getting frustrated, seeing others maybe jump the queue somehow.
But what really strikes you is the dedication, the investment people made.
Dan saving for a whole year. Think about that.
The full year. And the PS2 itself was around $300 back then. That's not insignificant 2000 money, right? Especially for a young couple.
Plus controllers, memory card, the games.
2 controllers, memory card, and 3 games. Smugglers Run, SSX, and Madden launch titles.
And Michelle's comment really sums it up. This is what childhood dreams are made of, right? It captures that feeling.
It really does. It wasn't just buying something. It felt like a cultural moment, a big deal financially and emotionally.
So here's where the story takes a sharp left turn. While they're in that line, dealing with the chaos, a camera crew from World News Tonight, ABC News, just walks up to them.
Out of the blue.
And asks if they can follow them home after they buy the PS2 to do an interview.
Wow. Talk about unexpected. Put right on the spot.
Can you imagine?
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Spontaneity hitting the kind of rigid needs of TV news.
And Michelle was pretty clear they weren't exactly prepped for national TV.
No, she said they were not ready for that. Long day at work, they'd just grabbed pizza. They just wanted to go home and play.
Plus the logistics, they live like 20 minutes away.
And this is 2000. No Waze, no phone GPS guiding the crew.
So the news van literally had to follow their car home in the dark.
It shows how different things were. And then the filming itself wasn't exactly fly on the wall.
Oh yeah, the coming home shot, where Dan walks into the house.
Completely staged.
They had to go back outside, get back in the car, and redo the arrival for the cameras.
And apparently Danny was so flustered he forgot to actually unlock the door on the stage take.
It just paints such a picture, right? The reality versus the TV moment.
Exactly. A supposedly candid moment, but totally shaped by the cameras being there.
Okay, so fast forward 20-something years. The quit goes viral. And suddenly everyone's got opinions, especially about, the details, like the couch.
Ah, yes, the famous couch.
What was the deal with the couch? You got so many comments.
Well, if you think about where they were in life, it makes perfect sense. It's super relatable.
Newlyweds, right?
Yeah, Michelle said they were not even married 2 years. And, when you're starting out...
You take what you can get furniture-wise.
Exactly. Just taking whatever furniture folks want to give you, she said. It was a hand-me-down from her boss at USA Today.
So not exactly interior design chosen for TV.
Not at all. And they actually replaced it by Christmas that same year, so it's just a temporary thing.
It really highlights the difference between, a real home and a set.
Totally. And it wasn't just the couch people noticed.
Right. Their clothes, too. And shoes.
Mm-hmm. Dan was wearing like baggy, comfortable clothes. He'd had a long day at work.
Doing what?
It's stuff, clearing a computer virus and then actually physically laying Cat5 network cable. So yeah, comfort was key.
And Michelle's socks and shoes got comments, too.
Yep. It's kind of wild what people zoom in on.
It does raise that question, doesn't it? How we look back at these old, candid moments through today's lens.
Right. They both said, we didn't plan for this. We didn't prepare what we were going to wear.
We didn't certainly think that 25 years later anybody would be watching this.
It's proof it was real, unscripted life. The focus was 100% on the PS2 excitement, not fashion.
And speaking of how things get viewed later, conspiracy theories about this clip.
Oh, yeah. It got pretty wild. Some people claimed it was AI generated.
AI generated from 2000.
I know, right? Kind of amusing given the tech back then. Others said the whole thing was staged beyond just the interview parts.
So how do they deal with that?
They actually had to prove it was them, showed old photos of their house, the exact TV model.
Wow.
Even details get twisted, like the controller Dan's holding. People kept saying it was an Xbox 360 controller.
Which would be impossible in 2000.
Totally. It was actually an NG Con twist controller, a specific third-party one from back then.
That's such a specific detail.
It grounds it firmly in that time, but it shows how easily modern viewers can misinterpret old footage, right? Apply what they know now backwards.
Okay, and we have to talk about the tray push.
Ah, the infamous tray push.
Dan closes the PS2 disc tray by gently pushing it, and the internet reacted.
Some people were genuinely offended. Yeah, it's amazing how a tiny action blew it up.
So what's the real story there? Was it bad for the console?
Dan explained it had a bump sensor. It was designed to sense pressure and stop. He insists he pushed it very gently.
And the proof is in the pudding, I guess.
Pretty much. He said that specific PS2 never broke down. It worked perfectly for years until he eventually gave it away to another family.
So much fussed over nothing, basically.
It's just a perfect example of internet scrutiny, isn't it? Magnifying the tiniest things into controversies.
Okay, let's get back to the heart of it all. The PS2 itself. Why was it such a massive deal? What was the leap?
Well, technically, it was a huge jump from the original PlayStation.
In what ways? Graphics.
Definitely graphics. A much higher polygon count, which basically means more complex shapes, so characters, cars, environments looked way more realistic.
Okay.
And it had a much faster processor, too. That didn't just mean prettier pictures, it meant smarter enemies, more complex game worlds, better AI.
Dan mentioned something specific he was excited about. Draw distance.
Yeah, the amazing draw distance, that was a big one. On PS1, you'd often get that fog effect, right? Where distant things were hidden until you got closer.
Right, or things just popping into view, clipping.
Exactly. It made game worlds feel a bit constrained, maybe almost claustrophobic, as Dan put it.
But with the PS2.
In a game like Smugglers Run, if you could see mountains way off in the distance, you could actually drive to them. It opened everything up, made it feel vast.
That's a big shift. And it wasn't just for games either, the other huge feature.
The DVD player, can't forget that.
That was genius marketing by Sony, wasn't it?
Absolutely brilliant, because standalone DVD players were still pretty pricey in 2000.
So the PS2 is like a two-in-one entertainment hub.
Precisely. They didn't even own any DVDs the night they bought it, but Dan ran out the very next day to get The Matrix.
A classic choice for a first DVD.
It made the console appeal to more than just hardcore gamers. It was bringing next-gen movies home, too.
Now, Dan calls himself a gadget guy, an early adopter. What's his background? What made him so passionate about this stuff?
Oh, his gaming roots go way back. Like, way back.
How far?
His first system, an old Atari 800 computer back in 1979.
Wow, okay, so he was there from the early days.
Totally. He was even involved in the classic playground arguments like Atari 800 versus Commodore 64.
Huh, what was his take?
He argued the Atari was technically superior, had way more colors, 256 versus 16 on the C64, and better sound capabilities.
He wasn't just playing games, though, right? He was making them.
Yeah, that's what's really cool. He actually wrote games for systems like the Atari ST, made his own Monopoly version, and a game called Wall Wars, which sounds like a Tron Light Cycle clone.
That's amazing.
And he ran a BBS, a bulletin board system.
Okay, explain BBS for younger listeners. pre-internet online communities.
Exactly. Dial-up modem stuff. His was called Gilligan's Island BBS. You dial in, leave messages, download files, play text games sometimes.
So this deep history coding, community building, being on the cutting edge, it all fed into his excitement for the PS2's potential.
Absolutely. He wasn't just buying a new toy. He understood the technological leap it represented, probably better than most.
So given all that anticipation, that history, did the PS2 live up to the hype right out of the box for him? What about those launch games?
Well, he admits they were good. Smugglers Run, Madden, solid starts.
But I sense a but.
But maybe he was expecting maybe just a little bit more initially.
In what sense?
He pointed out that the Sega Dreamcast, which was already out, actually handled anti-aliasing better.
Anti-aliasing, that's smoothing out the jagged edges on graphics.
Right, makes things look sharper, less pixelated. So some people initially thought the Dreamcast actually looked a bit cleaner, maybe a better system visually at first glance.
But that changed.
Oh yeah, that's super common with new consoles. Developers need time to figure out the hardware, Programmers got better at harnessing the PS2's power pretty quickly.
And then came the classics.
Exactly. It eventually delivered with games like God of War, Jack, and Daxter, games that really showed what the machine could do. It just took a little time to unlock that potential.
Now, Michelle's role in all this, it really comes across as incredibly supportive.
It really does. She's consistently positive throughout their telling of the story.
How does she describe her part in his hobby?
She calls herself the cheerleader, says, I totally support him in all this. I don't play any of them. I love to watch him and help him along.
That's a lovely way to put it.
It is, and she pushed back against that old gaming widow idea,
Right, like the partner gets lost to the hobby.
Yeah, she argued it was no different than, say, a husband watching Sunday football all day. It's just a different passion.
It highlights a really nice partnership, that mutual respect. A lot of viewers picked up on that.
Definitely. It adds a real worth to the whole story.
So that original World News Today piece, it aired briefly back in 2000, then just disappeared for 25 years.
Vanished.
Then boom, it's online, it's viral. How did they even find out? Did ABC call them?
Nope, nothing like that. It was pure internet discovery.
How?
Someone on Reddit, who also happened to watch Dan's own tech YouTube channel, recognized them and told them the video was up.
That's wild.
And then, get this, they also heard about it randomly while shopping at Costco. Someone actually recognized them in the store from the viral clip.
No way, that's crazy.
Total shock for them. They'd never saw this video again after its initial airing, and definitely not the full interview segment.
Just the few seconds that made the news back then.
Right, and suddenly people were finding their names mentioned in the clip and reaching out on Facebook, email.
It really shows the power of the internet, doesn't it? Digging up these forgotten moments and giving them a massive second life.
Absolutely. Digital archaeology, almost.
There was also that moment in the interview where the reporter asks Dan, essentially, what's the big deal about the PS2? That question got some flack online later, right?
It did. People were like, how could she not get it? But Michelle actually defended the reporter.
What was her reasoning?
She pointed out, quite rightly, I think, that it was a non-gamer asking a perfectly reasonable question for the intended audience.
Which was?
National Evening News, World News Tonight. A very broad audience.
So the question wasn't meant for hardcore gamers, it was for everyone else watching.
Exactly. Michelle said the online criticism came from people real familiar with it, looking back and thinking, what's the big deal about the question itself? But for a general audience in 2000, it needed explaining.
That's a fair point. Perspective matters.
It does. It reminds us that not everyone lives inside these niche hobby bubbles.
And one last fantastic detail that just grounds the whole experience in reality. After all that, midnight lines, TV crews, setting up the new console late into the night.
Dan still had to get up and go to work the next morning.
No day off to play.
None. It really highlights how things were different. No flexible PTO days like many have now.
Back then, it was sick days and planned vacation, right?
Pretty much. They mentioned having only 6 sick days for the whole year, and vacation had to be pre-planned way advanced.
And this was October, towards the end of the year.
So any leave was likely long gone, as they said, no, you got up and you went to work. Simple as that.
It makes the whole thing even more epic somehow, fitting this huge personal event around everyday responsibilities.
Totally relatable. Even console history has to clock in the next day.
What an incredible story, seriously. From that, adrenaline-fueled midnight launch chaos to becoming this viral touchstone 25 years later.
It really is.
This deep dive has shown us how just buying something, a consumer product, can capture so much cultural history, tech shifts, personal dedication.
We've got the excitement of the new tech, the funny quirks of how TV news got made back then.
And that heartwarming story of partnership, too. Michelle the cheerleader.
It truly captures that spirit of, technology evolving alongside human connection, and how moments we think are fleeting can suddenly become, well, historical artifacts.
Yeah, found again, seen in a new light by totally new audiences.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? As you go about your day, maybe filming something mundane on your phone, or just having a normal experience.
What moment from your life today might suddenly pop up in 25 years?
Exactly. Through some future tech we can't even imagine, maybe it becomes a viral sensation. What story would that rediscovered moment tell about you, about our time, that you didn't even realize you were recording?
Something to ponder. What might future you look back on and rediscover?